What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and welcome to episode number 2 of the Dream Condo Renovation series. So in this episode, we're gonna go through all of the design decisions. When it comes to the different fixtures, the colors, and the small details that come together to bring the whole mood of the place, I'm sure a lot of you guys are curious or maybe unsurprised by the selections that I've gone with. As someone who doesn't have any previous experience in interior design, I think it's all about looking for inspiration online and bringing all of these ideas together while also taking a look at the past projects and grabbing all the things that I really liked and maybe things that I wish I hadn't have done and put it all into an ultimate project like this. Ultimately, after this project is done, I'm probably going to like and dislike certain things, and so you kind of learn and bring that all into the next project, and it's something that I'm personally very interested in. So if you guys want to keep up with this series, we have so much to cover in terms of the electrical plan, the fixtures, the furniture, as well as the installation process of the kitchen, as well as the living room, and then we're going to give you a full tour after everything is renovated, and I expect the series to go over 10 episodes, so make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe, drop a comment down below of what your favorite thing is and any preferences or recommendations that you have, and make sure you have post notifications on because this series is going to have a lot of updates going into the summer. So beginning with the overall mood of this place, and I think if you look at my past designs, I do like to have a very neutral base. There are whites with contrasting blacks, and I like to use raw material and really have that show through. And with the inside, the wood selection was one area that I was kind of back and forth on in the very beginning. The floors that I've gone with are white oak, and it's one that I haven't really done before, but it has been a very noticeable trend at the moment, and I think it looks great. And going with the herringbone is also something that I've wanted to check off the list for quite a while now, but it was just waiting for the right property to do it. There's also mixes of mid-tone wood that don't go too far into the dark walnut or black, but at the same time, I didn't go with the same light oak color that I also went with on the floor. And I was kind of trying to figure out whether or not that would go well together, but to kind of tie everything else, I still gone with very neutral furniture and fabrics, as well as some contrasts of a camel brown leather that can go in certain areas such as the side chairs and the couch. So in this video, we're going to be going through the whole kitchen process of figuring out the materials as well as the layout and optimizations. And by working with an interior designer, I'm at least able to have a good blend of form and function without bringing way too many ideas into one space. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the heart of the space, and that is the kitchen, the living room, and the bathroom. The millwork is going to be very continuous throughout, with some areas that have small distinct features that kind of differentiate each area, but at the end of the day, I did want them to all tie together nicely. And when it comes to the millwork, I'm working with Thomas & Birch in Victoria again, and their Elmwood line, which is the premium line of cabinets that we've also used in the previous project. So as you can probably see right here, there is kind of a design where it has an element of a classic and modern look. Even though I really like modern kitchens, I do feel like it's overdone, and my personal preference is to always have a bit of, it's a high-end and maybe a bit of farmhouse feel to it that is converted into a modern feel. I don't know if I explained that well, but by having slats in the hood fan, I think that does characterize what I've done recently. So this color right here is called the Bregan's 43, which is actually a light flat cut walnut, and this is in the veiled finish. For the one that I actually ordered, I went with one sheen glossier because I noticed in the previous project, the veiled finish was just too much on the satin side. And this is going to be in the main areas of the fridge door and the cabinets, and it's going to go with this buster and punch knurled finish of hardware, which I think, as you can see here with the black finish and this walnut, it goes very, very well, and the knurled finish just gives it a very strong look to it. And the complementing color, which is going to be the secondary area that also has the dining table, is in a black finish called New Haven. This is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it has the wood textures to it. It isn't a flat black, which I did do in the office space, but it does show scratches a lot easier. And so because we're going with a walnut finish for the rest of it, the wood texture in this goes with the hardware and is able to tie together nicely and give it a strong contrast to one area. When it comes to the stone, in the last 3 projects, I've had a bit of white quartz in one way or another. And on my second project, I actually went with dark stone for the countertops. And even though it looks really good, one lesson that I did learn is that it does fingerprint quite easily and can be hard to clean at times. And so I've gone back to a white finish, but this time we're going with a bit of a different material. This is Infinity Stone, which is actually porcelain. And what I like about porcelain is that you're able to get very thin slabs that can be cladded on the wall, but at the same time, you get these really realistic marble finishes. So now that I've showed you some of the material choices of the kitchen, let's head off to the showroom and we can talk a bit about the millwork. And the gap right here, that's gonna be, there's not gonna be a gap, right?
There's not gonna be a gap. I still don't know exactly what the height of the ceiling is gonna be.
Yeah. That's being framed up at the moment, but yeah, like a trim piece or something like that could.
It'll be filled in. Ideally, it's 1.5 inches.
Okay.
Like everything else. If the ceiling is a little bit different, it might be 1 3/4 inches. It might be 1 1/4 inches. Yeah, it's still gonna be scribed to the ceiling.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
By the way, that is also like take off another couple $1,000.
Yeah.
Don't have that cabinet.
Which cabinet?
Over the
Fireplace.
Oh, like without a cabinet.
Yeah.
Instead, just have like a, but it's literally just like a door hinge, right?
Yeah,
door hinge cabinet. Yeah, but it's still a tall, big cabinet.
But then IO is missing. That is a bit of space that is valuable.
Yeah, if you need the space, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only concern that we have is I know the internet center right now, it's in the main bedroom's closet. The plan was to actually have the AV receiver in this cabinet right here, and so the internet system is gonna have to either go in this cabinet, which is not as wide on the left side, or originally that one, which would have meant there's no shelves, and as soon as it's opened up, it would just have the internet. When it came to the living room though, my biggest priority was to make sure it was interesting, but at the same time didn't take away from the attention of the TV, which is the star of the show, being 83 inches. So you can see there are some shelves on the left side that allow you to put some decor and add a bit of character to it, but there's also a fireplace on the right side, which makes up for the one that I removed in the middle that typically takes up a lot of space. This fireplace is a little bit different though. It is actually a vapor fireplace that gives off a very realistic effect compared to a traditional electric fireplace, and it utilizes water to be able to produce that vapor paired with the light that gives off the impression of a real flame. So I think that's a cool tech touch to this whole living room, because that is probably my favorite part of this entire unit. And even though the kitchen is a huge part of any condo, I personally don't cook that much, so yeah, I'm really excited for this living room. And then the back, I'm just going to be doing a nice black finish to let the TV blend in a way, but at the same time is neutral and contrasting to the lighter finish throughout it. The main bathroom is going to have the same walnut finish in its cabinets and a beveled edge, as well as the Buster and Punch knurled black hardware. The only big difference is even though you're going to have the Calcutta Magnifico in the countertops, there's also going to be a dark stone that goes along the entire backsplash, and that is the Pietra Gray. What I really like about this Pietra Gray is that it looks different depending on the light. The floors, on the other hand, are going to have a gray finish that looks very similar to the Pietra Gray, but it's just a little bit simpler. Without having the design on the floor, you don't take the attention away from all of the other great viewpoints, whether it's the vanity or the shower design. As for the guest and powder room, the only big difference is that I've gone with a single faucet instead of having the hot and cold dials on each side. In the main bathroom, I felt like it made sense to have separate dials just because having a small faucet like this along the entire span of a large vanity just looks a bit imbalanced. So I've gone with the gold hardware from Brizo, and as you can see, this just looks really, really good. I love the knurled finish. It's what I'm going to be using in the kitchen as well. And with the guest bathroom, I'm gonna be going with a rounded gray tile to go all the way up against the wall. And I think with the nice grout color that's going to show through, it just adds a bit of complexity to it. So yeah, these are some of the material choices for the kitchen, the living room, and the bathroom. So we're gonna talk a lot more about the furniture selections in another episode because I feel like I've already talked a lot already, but here are some of the choices that I've gone with so far. The walls are pretty easy. I mean, Chantilly lace has been my go-to color for quite a few years now, and so I'm gonna be doing that once again. It's just a very crisp and neutral light, and part of the reason why I always go with like the sharpest white is because we also film videos in my condos. So by having a nice neutral white, you're able to get that nice white balance that, I mean, you just can't go wrong with it. I always believe in a very neutral base and eventually building up the rest of the place through different accessories that you can interchange at any time. So for the living room, I'm going to be going with something called a porpoise finish, and the reason why is because I've already got it in my current place. It is really, really durable. I have friends who slept on it for like 10, 15 days and it just stays very clean. It doesn't show anywhere whatsoever. So although I'm going with a different couch design, I'm gonna be going with Porpoise, which is from the same company that I use for a lot of my furniture, Rove Concepts. For like the beds and side furniture, I think a light like mist gray is also a good way to kind of avoid a sharp white, which can have durability questions, but at the same time, it looks a little bit different from something that is maybe slightly darker, such as the Porpoise. So I think for the bedding right now, I'm leading with like a modern felt Malmo finish. And then some of the other furniture pieces that I'm really excited about are in the guest room, as well as the living room, which has like a cognac brown leather finish. So now that we've talked about all the design selections, let's go ahead and check out the state of the project at the moment. So before we move on, I want to give a huge thanks to the sponsor of this video, Coda, which is an all-in-one workspace that is able to bring words, docs, and teams together. As you guys might know, there are a lot of different moving parts in the media business, whether it is video ideas, sponsorships, deadlines that we have to meet, as well as creative concepts and renovation projects, the Airbnb business, the clothing business, that there are a lot of different sectors to manage that I'm constantly trying to tackle and trying to find more effective ways to stay organized, but also writing down all the crazy ideas that we might have at a given time. Coda has been a great workspace for us to be able to organize all of our video ideas, and as you can see from this template, we've named it Formula One because that is something that I'm interested in and what I kind of consider a central hub for the company in order to stay collaborative and effective. As you can see here, there are 4 major elements of our Coda deck, which has active ideas, ideas in planning, active projects, and also completed ideas. It's important to have them all separated because we know what's coming up, what we're working on at the moment, but also having an archive to be able to go back in the future and see some of the other video ideas that we've already done or products that we featured. Coda is also a very visual platform, and that is what I like the most about it because you're able to set up different graphs and illustrations that best help you understand the company's workflow and timeline coming up. So for example, I have all my tasks here and it shows the percentage of tasks that are not started, in progress, or blocked. It also tells you the number of deadlines this week, and we also have different color codes to be able to easily visualize where we're at in terms of the given workflow. There's also a Team Syncs and Meetings tab, which helps me understand who has completed certain tasks and who needs to be assigned some new tasks to be able to stay in line with all of the different members of the team in different categories. Especially if you're new to Coda, it is great that they have templates that work out of the box and it's fully customizable so you can build or modify your own. There are thousands of templates that you can use. So if you guys want to go ahead and check out Coda for yourself, I'm going to leave a link down below and you can get started for free, and a huge thanks to them once again for sponsoring this video. So we're about a month into the project, all the demolition is done, and I'm just gonna show you guys around on what areas they're working on at the moment and just what it looks like before the floors go in. You can probably see like at this phase of the renovation, everything is still like very shelled out. There's still a lot of like original remnants. I'm standing in the main bedroom right now, and this is a room that I'm definitely very excited about because in my previous condo, you might have noticed that I used the main bedroom as my home office. For the first time, I'm gonna have an ensuite bathroom, and that is going to be a huge focus in this project. And so just looking at it right now, you can probably see that this room didn't really get any like major structural changes. There's a bit of a cove that's been cut out here, and originally it was like a wall that went around, but I figured because there's some space, it'd be really nice to be able to fit a dresser in here, and the TV will just mount on the wall. They're also going to be dropping all the ceilings, which I'm going to talk about a bit more in the living room itself, but over on this side, I'm going to put the bed over here. There's going to be a bit of millwork, and just over there is going to be the closet. It's all going to be custom cabinets. There's going to be an area for like laptop, phone, just like a grab and go, and also like a steam closet. And then the other side will just be the double set of cabinets itself. But yeah, at the moment, it is still like very, very like open, but I'm pretty excited that I was able to increase the amount of space on this side just by a little bit. In terms of like the actual scale of this room, it is really similar to what I have in my current main bedroom. So, I mean, that is really nice. I'm gonna be putting a king size bed here, maybe a chair on the corner over here. And now let's just go ahead and show you guys the main area of the place, which is the living room and the kitchen. So just over here is the living room. And as you can see, it has a lot of natural light that is coming in. And what I love about it is that you look right out into the terrace with the fireplace, the furniture, the turf that's gonna be going on there. And in this area, they have essentially prepped it up and also reduced the ceiling height by just a little bit in order to fit some can lights. You can see that this is a pretty large space. The wall across is about 16 feet, and there's actually no canned lights in here before. It was just like a concrete ceiling, and there is just some like spots for a lamp and some outlets over there. But the plan is to have the couch right here, the TV over there. And so I had them flatten out the wall, take out the whole fireplace, and as a result, going to build a huge media wall that goes all the way across to house the 83-inch TV, as well as some storage on the sides and across. Going back to the ceiling itself though, I've had them wire all these spots for like LED lights, just so there's some ambient light in the evening. And at the same time, because they're building out this drop ceiling anyways, I also had them wire some of the speakers in. That way I can have a surround setup that all routes back to the main system. Surprisingly, the speaker itself is not that expensive, and just to do it while the wall is completely open and picking all the areas of where I'd want to put like the router, the networking, and all that kind of stuff, at least makes it worthwhile for the amount of money that I have to spend on getting this framed and drywalled, which is like a few $1,000s, but I did do it in the home office, the bedroom, this main area, and also in the guest bedroom. As we rotate over here though, you can see the terrace right now is a bit of an odd situation. That was not the plan to be completely demolished like that, but because of the amount of sitting water, I figured we'd address that issue right now before the floors are going in. The good news is that there's no water entering the unit, but instead it piles up in certain areas, but as a result of some drain changes and some pretty basic fixes, it seems like it is all dried out, which is a good sign, but they just have to put all this membrane back on, change the turf, and as part of the demolition process, I also had all of the rocks and the pavers taken out because those are going to be replaced, but I am reusing some of the pavers along the surrounding planters and the outdoor kitchen. But yeah, they've got to put all this foam back there, and hopefully the overall bill for that area is not too expensive because it is a pretty boring spot to spend money on. As you can see over here, in the original tour, this led to the home office. And the previous owner actually had some furniture here and blocked it off. And that is because the door to the room over here is actually not that far away. It's just down the hallway. So I figured, why don't I turn this area into a bar? It's going to match the entire kitchen that spans all the way across here. And so I'm going to have cabinets on each side. There's going to be the countertop and all that goes across with the custom hood fan. The island is going to travel along here, and originally the dining table was over there, but I'm going to have the table attached to the end of the island on this side. That way I still get a nice view of the water and the TV, but have a very large and grand living room. When it comes to the demolition process, whenever you're trying to get rid of a kitchen, I definitely recommend you just go ahead and put it on Facebook Marketplace. Somebody is probably going to be willing to pay for it and also come and completely disassemble it, and at least it doesn't end up in the dump. So my last two projects, I actually probably got about $3,000 combined, getting rid of both of the kitchens, and that not only saved me like a couple $1,000s in dump fees and demolition costs, but somebody got a kitchen that they can either use in their own home or investment property. I also sold the appliances as well, and in terms of the actual setup after everything is demolished, the only changes that are going to be done in kind of the kitchen area when it comes to setup is a water line. So that water line is actually supposed to be for the fridge, to have the ice maker work, but I figured because a water line is being pulled anyways, to also have a pot filler, which I think is like a very nice custom house element. And so yeah, now let's go ahead and take a look at the home office area and what has been done there. So I'm gonna go this way, you guys are gonna take that route just to show you how close it actually is. So hey there again, we're in the home office, and this is an area that I'm obviously gonna be spending a lot of my time in. Right now, I work from home most of the time, even though we do have that office, but this is essentially a room that is the same size as my current home office, but dedicated to being an office. And it's nice to still have a large bedroom, and obviously the big reason for purchasing this place is not only the additional bedroom, but the larger living room, and also the beautiful 1,000-square-foot terrace. This room right here does have some difficulties though. It is south facing, and so during the daytime, filming is going to be a problem. So Some of the changes that I made in this room were to have all the shades done, just picking the percentage of it, and at the same time, also having some space for the projector screen to roll down, because that is one of my favorite features in the current home office. From a demolition standpoint, they really didn't have to do that much. But looking at the ceiling right here, you can see they've done the same setup as in the living room, and that is some LED lights. So at night, I'm always like working on my computer, doing some color grading, some video editing, and the problem right now is that there's just no light. So I can't really see what is on my desk aside from what is on the screen. So having the option to have some LED lights in the ceiling is really nice. And on top of that, because I am having a projector installed right here so I can watch hockey while I work, I decided that I was going to have some speakers wired into the ceiling as well and have a subwoofer in this wall right here just to keep everything out of the ground. In terms of like the furniture layout, I think I'm gonna be going with either an L-shaped or a U-shaped desk. So there's gonna be one side over here, there's gonna be the main side that looks out on this area. I'm gonna be sitting right here, and towards the left, there's going to be some storage for like the NAS systems, all of the very ugly hard drives that I have, and the card readers. So from a production setup, just having some space for quick access to all this storage is gonna be really nice. And so yeah, I really look forward to kind of seeing how this room comes to life. Being able to hop out into the terrace anytime and make a few putts on that green will be really awesome as well. But in terms of like a design standpoint, I don't really know what I'm planning to do in this area, just keeping it relatively simple. But that is like the main area of this place, what it looks like in its demolished state. In the first month, they've definitely made some really nice progress. And now we're at the point where the electrician's coming in, the plumbing is going in as well. All of the decisions and budget have been signed off on and confirmed. So that is all good to go. And yeah, the deposit for the kitchen and millwork has been put in as well. And that's going to take about 4 to 5 months. So I hope you guys enjoy this. As you can see, it is like a beautiful sunset at the moment as we head out here. And this is definitely an area that I plan to spend a lot of time in, and I'm really excited for you guys to continue to see the progress, but that is what it looks like right now in its demolished state. But otherwise, thank you guys for watching this episode 2 where I talk about the home project and what I've selected. And if you guys enjoyed it, make sure you go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one.